Hey, good evening, and I'm so excited today because I've got some Valentine decor in the house, and it's a beautiful feeling. Of course, I'm sitting in one part of my absolutely cozy romantic tent, and yes, doing one of the things I really love, which is talking about wellness, talking about beauty, talking about the scientific facts which are going to help you be the best version of yourself at any age. And yes, this is going to be fun and easy because I know that what is difficult seems very fascinating, but what is fun and easy gets done. And here, whatever I have achieved in my life is because of consistent and persistent action. Yes, there may be many more secrets, but all of you would agree that without consistency and persistence, nothing is possible, and things can be consistent and persistent only when they are super simple to do. So, taking a break from my wonderful Valentine decor and spending this moment with all of you to tell you about hair thinning. Yes, a very important topic. In fact, I sometimes feel I should have addressed this topic a lot before, because when it comes to hair thinning, if you aren't taking the right decision at the right time, it is quite possible that you may have irreversible changes, and you may have to live with those irreversible changes for life. So everybody who's listening to me would agree that it is important to have healthy hair. It is possible that you may have long hair or short hair or colored hair or black hair or even gray hair. Those are the smaller things, and those don't really matter as long as you feel comfortable with it. But when a person starts losing hair, when a person starts seeing the scalp showing, when a person starts noticing what we call as thinning, when a person understands that he or she may go bald, the person definitely gets worried about it. Sometimes the person gets so worried about it that I know people who even go into denial, who are not doing anything scientific for it, but who are trying to do small things which are not helping at all. So I thought it is more important than any other topic to talk about the topic of hair thinning. And hair thinning is such an important topic because if hair thinning is not treated on time, it can cause irreversible changes like baldness. So we all know hair fall. What is hair fall and how is hair thinning different from hair fall? So each one knows that we are bound to lose hair. Hair has a cycle. The cycle is the hair growing and the hair falling. So every hair which is born has to die. So after a particular number of months or years, every hair is going to fall, and we all have hair fall, and we are comfortable with some extent of hair fall. Yes, when the hair fall is more than before, it is not a good feeling. So people say terrible hair fall, excessive hair fall, and they are quite upset about it. In fact, people start commenting, how much of hair do I see all over the house? How much of hair do I see in the food? And these kind of comments start coming up, and these are even more upsetting. Yes, but hair fall is a very common concern. Everybody who has hair fall doesn't have a problem of hair thinning. So today's conversation, which is going to be something like 20 minutes long, but I am going to ensure that this is going to be power packed. This is going to be candid. I am going to say certain things which need to be said, certain things where mincing of words is not allowed at all, where we have to be very straight in your face and say that please do not take your hair for granted. Please do not believe that what has worked for somebody else will always work for you. Something might have helped somebody miraculously. In fact, that product may have hundreds of testimonials, but it may not work for you if you have hair thinning. So some product which works well for hair fall may not work for hair thinning, and I want you to be aware of this. So ask yourself a question: do you have hair fall, or do you have hair fall with hair thinning? So how do we differentiate the two things? A simple hair fall is when the hair falls. Of course, we all know that, but the hair that falls, most of the hair that falls just comes back. So if a person is facing hair loss, but the hair that they are losing is also growing back, so the overall density of the hair is somewhat affected, which is true for all of us. In fact, none of us have the kind of hair that we had in school, in college. The kind of hair that we had in college, we don't have in our 20s, and the kind of hair we had in their 20s, we don't have in their 30s, and so on and so forth. So there is going to be a progressive deterioration in the density and quality of hair. Probably that is what we could call as aging gracefully, but there is a small change, and that change still is acceptable. We take it as a part of the whole process of growing up, growing old, where certain things become better and certain things become not so good like before. It's perfectly acceptable. What is not acceptable then? What is not acceptable is when the number of hair which are falling may be moderate or severe, but then the number of hair which are growing back, because we said it is a cycle where there is a fall, but yes, at the same time there is a regrowth, where the regrowth is severely compromised. So when the hair falls, in fact, I have a lot of people who say that yes, I do have hair fall, but the hair fall is not so terrible. In fact, I am losing probably reasonable amount of hair. My wife or my sister is losing a lot more hair than me. So when people are losing hair but not terrible amounts of hair, and even as they are losing moderate hair, they are beginning to see the deterioration in the number of hair on their head. Their scalp is beginning to show. They are showing a phenomena which we may call as thinning. People are asking them, what happened to you? Are you losing so much hair? Why are you losing so much hair? So people who are meeting them after long, they can make out just by looking at them that they have been losing hair. Their photographs show that they have been losing hair. There is a change in the personality. So by looking at a person who is just losing hair but not a victim of thinning, you may not be able to immediately make out whether the person is losing hair or not. Let me tell you another case study. Like when I meet clients at Skinsense, my aesthetic clinic, many a times I meet a client for the first time, and even though I'm meeting a client for the first time, I can say that this client has been losing hair over a period of time. Now, how can I say that? I can say that because I can see there is significant reduction in the density of hair in the crown or the cap area. So we are talking about a crown area where a person wears a crown, and like I have a broad forehead. Everybody in my family has a broad forehead, but there is a difference between having a broad forehead and having a receding hairline. We all know the difference. We can see that the scalp is beginning to show. We can see an unhealthy kind of shine on the scalp. We can see certain gaps in between the head that are beginning to show. When you look from the top, certain gaps are beginning to show. The person tries to cover up wearing a pony. The pony doesn't look very bad. Many times in victims of hair thinning, the pony looks reasonably okay, but the crown area or the cap area is the one that is majorly affected. So what happens is the hair which are falling off from the roots, they do not grow back, or some of them grow back and some of them do not grow back, or the ones which grow back also grow back of a much inferior quality or weaker quality. You know exactly what I'm saying. So it becomes noticeable that there is volume loss in the crown area. The scalp is seen, the hair looks frizzier than ever, the hair looks extremely unkept. It is extremely difficult for such people to style their hair, even with some kind of seasonal changes or having long days spent on the outside. They see that their hair is all standing out and looks too frizzy. You exactly know these kind of people, and both men and women can have a problem of hair thinning. In fact, initially more of men had a problem of hair thinning, but today you can see a lot of females have a problem of hair thinning. Hair thinning is a problem which can begin any time in the reproductive age. So when the sex hormones become active in the body, which typically happens around the age of 15, then there are certain changes in the body, and these changes in the body can cause some kind of a problem in the DHT, also known as testosterone, and this in this we won't call it like a, we can call it abnormality or imbalance, because we do not want to call it a disease. I do not call it a disease because it is not affecting too many systems of yours. Yes, you need not get extremely scared about it, but at the same time you need to realize that the hormones in your body are imbalanced, and if this is bothering you, then you will have to take action at the right time. So in the first 10 minutes of our conversation, I have explained to you what is hair thinning and how it is different from a client, a male or a female, who is suffering from hair fall. So the first question, all of you who are suffering from hair fall, I think one question you definitely must ask yourself is, do you just have a hair fall? Is your concern hair fall, or is your concern hair thinning? If your concern is hair thinning, then what you need to focus on is the regrowth of the hair. What you need to focus on is the quality of the hair that is regrowing. You will not be able to merely focus on the hair fall, because I just said that hair fall may be there, but hair fall may not be the main problem. In fact, people who have hair thinning sometimes have less hair loss than other people. So when you compare the hair loss, they are not losing excessive hair, they are only losing some hair. So we need to understand what needs to be worked on is the regrowth of hair. So I need you to first understand this, that using hair fall control oils or hair fall control shampoos or hair fall control massages or anything which is targeted as hair fall control is not enough. If you have hair thinning, what you need to be targeting on is hair regrowth. Having said this, let me tell you how you can. Okay, so my voice is not clear. I'm sorry about that. I'm not using a mic today, but I will speak loudly, and thank you for that feedback. So I will speak loudly and I'll ensure that my voice becomes a little more clear. Maybe I'll come a little closer. Yeah. So quickly repeating what we spoke about. We spoke about hair fall versus hair thinning, and we said very, very clearly and very, very honestly that if your hair is not growing back, please realize that what you need to focus on is the slow regrowth of hair. I am not talking here about the length of hair. I'm talking about the thickness of hair. So I want you to focus on the volume or the regrowth of hair. Hair is falling off from the root. So is the hair growing back from the root? And if your hair is not growing back from the root, then your focus needs to be on the hair regrowth, and your focus needs to be at the right time. Because if you are going to respond to it very, very late, if you're going to just do trial and error treatments, and if you're going to go ahead and do the right treatment very, very late, your hair follicles might be dead, your hair follicles might be not responsive to the treatment. So this conversation needs to be hammered into you and said very candidly, because there are certain things you absolutely cannot take for granted. You cannot keep delaying, and you cannot wait for a convenient time, cannot keep experimenting with a couple of things till you find out that nothing else works and then look for the right solution, because experimentation is taking you time. And people who have hair thinning, if the intervention is not at the right time, it is too late. So what I mean by too late is the follicles are completely dead, and all of you know that when we talk about the follicles being dead, medicine can do a lot of miracles. Today so much is possible in the field of medicine, but yet one thing medicine cannot do is medicine cannot make dead alive. So if you're going to take your hair loss for granted, if you're not getting aware that your problem is hair thinning, where there is some kind of a problem which is not allowing the fallen hair to regrow, Everybody loses hair as a part of the cycle, but most people regrow their hair back. If your hair is not regrowing, you will not call your problem as a hair fall problem. You will call your problem as a hair thinning problem, and you will take action at the right time. You will take responsible action at the right time, because if you take hair thinning for granted, the hair follicles will keep getting weaker and weaker and weaker, and at a point of time they will become totally non-responsive. You will not get any results then if you even do the right treatment. So just the right treatment is not enough. The right time is absolutely important. So in the next 5 minutes, again, I'm going to say certain things very, very strongly. Of course, how to treat hair thinning, I can tell you briefly, but then it's a medical expertise that treats hair thinning. It has got to do with vasodilatation. It has got to do with DHT balancing. It has got to do with PCOS control. So we are talking about balancing the hormones in your body, which needs to be done under medical supervision. It's a long-term process, but yes, results can be seen in as early as 6 to 8 weeks. And if it is not bothering you, probably you should talk to a doctor. Anyways, if anybody has hair thinning, male or female, I think it is important to talk to the doctor. That's your step number one. And why you must talk to a doctor is because it is important for you to find out whether your hair thinning has some underlying problem inside, like a lot of females with polycystic ovarian syndrome or polycystic ovarian disease have a problem of hair thinning. And if they are not taking care of their polycystic ovarian syndrome, that's not the only problem they have. Their skin gets pigmented, breaks down into acne, they have they put on weight, they keep putting on weight, and they keep feeling frustrated, and they keep feeling irritated. So then sometimes hair thinning may not be the problem. Hair thinning may just be the symptom. What I mean is, sometimes fever may just be the symptom, and the problem could be typhoid. The problem could be malaria. So we need to get down to the problem every time you have hair thinning, and you need to understand whether the hair thinning is because of something that you're not doing right at the surface. More often than not, it's not the truth. Yes, hair fall can happen because you are not taking care of yourself right, because your lifestyle is not right. Hair fall can happen because you're using too much of hot iron, because you're using helmet a lot. So there are a lot of tiny trigger factors which can cause hair fall. So controlling your lifestyle, applying oil, using the right temperature of water to wash your hair, all this can stop your hair fall. But if it comes to hair thinning is caused because something in your body is not right, which is not allowing the lost hair to grow back. Naturally, if there is a hair fall and your body is completely healthy, your hair must grow back. So now that you know that your hair is not growing back, you need to talk to a doctor to find out what is that underlying cause in the body. The underlying cause in the body can be a hormonal problem like high testosterone, high prolactin, polycystic ovarian syndrome. And if you are a female having hair thinning, you definitely must do some kind of lifestyle changes, medication wherever necessary, hormonal balancing wherever necessary, and get rid of this excessive testosterone. Because as a female, some testosterone is present in your body and that is needed, but having excessive testosterone has a lot of complications on your general health and your reproductive health, and getting your testosterone balanced as soon as possible is definitely a good idea. What you could do at home to reduce your testosterone a little is reduce on your central obesity. Have you heard the word central obesity? So central obesity is when a person is not really plump, but there is a lot of fat collection in the belly area. So you must be vigilant, not just about your weight. I often say that it makes no sense to be held ransom to the weighing scale, because weight may not be a health parameter. What is a health parameter is your belly fat. It is your waist to hip ratio, especially important in females, because if the waist to hip ratio is not healthy, then it is affecting the organs in the pelvis, and the organs in the pelvis are mainly uterus, and there is a severe hormonal imbalance for a woman in a reproductive age. If there is a hormonal imbalance of the male and the female hormones, that female is bound to have skin and hair problems and will not be able to get consistent results in having healthy skin or healthy hair unless we shift the focus in being awesome inside out and ensuring that the hormones get better and better. Yes, it's a long process, but it's a very, very fulfilling process. I would want you to take personal responsibility of the fact that if you have hormonal imbalance, you must look at the success stories of all the other females who have managed to completely reverse their hormonal imbalance. So it can get quite frustrating because many times it's a 2 to 3 year process where people are able to get their hormones back on track, but then the time will pass anyways. If you're getting frustrated and giving up because you feel that a 2 to 3 year process is simply too long and you don't have the patience or the aptitude to wait for 2 to 3 years, let me tell you, 2 to 3 years pass anyways. To think about it, it's already February, a whole year has passed, and we are living with COVID, we are living with restricted conditions, and a whole year has passed anyways. So time will pass anyways. So don't get overwhelmed by the fact that treating hair thinning or treating a hormonal problem can be a very time consuming process. Yes, I understand. Yes, I agree. And yes, I empathize. I am bringing up this point because I know the kind of conversation people get into. So I empathize with you. But after having empathized, I want to be very, very curt, if I can say. Allow me to be curt because I care for you. So my conversations cannot be about mincing words because as a doctor, I have to call a spade a spade. Yes, I do not want to puncture anybody's self-esteem. That's not the agenda. In fact, my mission is to make you feel awesome about yourself. But at the same time, I would definitely not believe in any kind of self-deception. So feeling awesome about yourself by being in denial is not going to work. So then if you have a polycystic ovarian syndrome or you have any other kind of hormonal hair loss, how would you know that you have hormonal hair loss? Well, you wouldn't know. A doctor would know. But if you have hair thinning, all I want you to do is I want you to talk to a doctor. At the end of this conversation, I just want to tell you that any kind of hair oil or over-the-counter serum or certain other things like a massage or certain things like rubbing the nails or tapping the head, all these things may work in other ways of hair fall. Different shampoos which claim to stop hair fall, these may work in other cases of hair fall, but then if you have hair thinning, none of this is going to work because hair fall is the last of your concerns. Your main concern is hair regrowth. So let us take the right decision at the right time. I think we will have longer conversations on hair thinning. It's an important topic because I see a lot of people come with severe hair thinning and severe frustration, severe disappointment, not feeling good about themselves. And when I ask them what they have done about this hair thinning, unfortunately many of them have used they've boiled herbs, they've bought oil from somebody who claims to be selling some wonder oils. No, I'm not against any of these wonder oils. If you ask me, do hair oil work? I personally do not apply hair oil. I personally do not prescribe hair oil, but that doesn't mean that I have ever said that hair oils don't work. A lot of things work. So I have my personalized 4-step formula, which is fun and easy to do, which gives results, which is cost effective. So I have made my own formula. But yes, there are some brilliant oils available in the market, and yes, they work. Is oiling of hair good? If you're a disciplined person and you can make time to oil your hair 2 times a week and you choose the right oil, yes, oiling can work, but not in hair thinning. So as much as I do not want to call anybody wrong, all modalities, all pathies have their own value. Everything works, but everything doesn't work for everyone. If we are talking about diagnosis, as a doctor, I just want to tell you that diagnosis is 80% of the success. So please diagnose your reason for hair loss. And if you have hair thinning, you will know it because you will see that your hairline continuously receding. It's getting more and more difficult for you to cover your scalp. You can see the thinning of the hair. You can see your scalp showing. So if your hairline is receding, you do not have a hair fall concern, do not keep asking on the internet, please suggest me something that is good for hair fall. Please accept that you have hair thinning, and if you have hair thinning, you must meet a medical expert, because if you keep experimenting and if it is too late, there will be irreversible changes, and the only solution you may have is transplant. Transplant is a great solution too. It gives extremely good results, but yes, it is the last resort, it is the last solution. So then there are so many ailments that can be solved by surgery. In fact, people are giving wonderful results by surgery, even in obesity. So surgery is not a bad thing, rather nothing is a bad thing, but then it still is a last resort. If you can naturally do it, if you can be proactive, if you can be responsible, if you can be mindful. I think proactive and responsible and ambitious, these are among my favorite words. But also one more of my favorite word is if you can be mindful. I think it's going to be a big game changer for you. So act mindfully. Hair loss seems like a superficial complaint. Skin not glowing seems like a superficial complaint. But I have said this even on forums, that the proverb beauty is just skin deep is probably not made by a skin doctor for sure, because beauty is not about the skin. Beauty is about your nutrition, beauty is about your hormones, beauty is about your genetics, beauty is about your lifestyle, beauty is about the social and emotional health that is triggering so many things in your body. So do not take your beauty for granted. If you think there is a severe change in your skin or hair, it is an alarm bell for you. That is the way your body is communicating you and telling you that you need to take better care of your body. Take care of yourself and stay beautiful. Thank you very much.